We all will start with prayer. I would like to see you all with your videos on as far as possible. Close your eyes. We will chant two prayers, one for Ganapati, second Saraswati invocation, and then we will chant our usual prayer of the yoga class, Patanjali prayer. ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् महागणपतये नमः। प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्र्यवतु आनो दिवो बृहतः पर्वतादा सरस्वती यजतागन्तु यज्ञम् हवन् देवी जुजुषाणा घृताची शग्मान्नो वाचमुषति शृणोतु वाग्देव्यै नमः। योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचा मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि। आबाहुपुरुषाकारं शङ्खचक्रासिधारिणं सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिम्। ॐ Slowly open your eyes. Am I clearly audible? Yeah. Okay. So best wishes one more time to all of you for on the occasion of Guru Poornima. And we will start this session with some chanting. Okay, we will chant Guru Stuti and we will also chant Guru Ashtakam. I will project it on the screen so you can read. Give me a thumbs up once you are able to see this. Yeah. Okay. So we'll start with chanting Guru Stuti. I will say one line and you can repeat it after me. Right? Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Harihi Om. Akhandamandalakaram. Akhandamandalakaram. Vyaptam yena characharam. Vyaptam yena characharam. Tatpadam darshitam yena तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। स्थावरं जङ्गमं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्चित् सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नित्यानन्दं व्यापि यत् सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सरचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सर्वश्रुतिशिरोरत्न विराजितपदाम्बुजः वेदान्ताम्बुजसूर्यो यः तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। चैतन्यशाश्वतं शान्तं व्योमातीतं निरञ्जनं नादबिन्दुकलातीतं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ज्ञानशक्तिसमारूढ तत्त्वमालविभूषितः भुक्तिमुक्तिप्रदाता च तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अनेकजन्म सम्प्राप्त कर्मबन्धविदाहिने आत्मज्ञानप्रदानेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Keep your eyes closed. Stay with your breath and stay with the feeling of this stotra. Remembering everyone who has been a teacher, a guru, a co-learner. Gently open your eyes. Fine. And now we will start with the chanting of Guru Ashtakam. Are you able to see Guru Ashtakam on the screen? Yes.
Yes.
Hands in Namaste, and you can again repeat after me. शरीरं सुरूपं तथा वा कलत्रम् शरीरं सुरूपं तथा वा कलत्रम् यशश्चारुचित्रं धनं मेरुतुल्यम् यशश्चारुचित्रं धनं मेरुतुल्यम् मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे ततः किं 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 कलत्रं धनं पुत्रपौत्रादि सर्वं कलत्रं धनं पुत्रपौत्रादि सर्वं गृहं बान्धवा सर्वमेतद्धिजातम् गृहं बान्धवा सर्वमेतद्धिजातम् मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे ततः किं 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 षडङ्गादिवेदो मुखे शास्त्रविद्या षडङ्गादिवेदो मुखे शास्त्रविद्या कवित्वादिगद्यं सुपद्यं करोति कवित्वादिगद्यं सुपद्यं करोति मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं विदेशेषु मान्यः स्वदेशेषु धन्यः विदेशेषु मान्यः स्वदेशेषु धन्यः सदाचारवृत्तेषु मत्तो न चान्यः सदाचारवृत्तेषु मत्तो न चान्यः मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे ततः किं 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 क्षमामण्डले भूपभूपालवृन्दै क्षमामण्डले भूपभूपालवृन्दै सदा सेवितं यस्य पादारविन्दं सदा सेवितं यस्य पादारविन्दं मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे ततः किं 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 यशो मे गतं दिक्षु दानप्रतापात् यशो मे गतं दिक्षु दानप्रतापात् जगद्वस्तु सर्वं करे सत्प्रसादात् जगद्वस्तु सर्वं करे सत्प्रसादात् मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे ततः किं 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 न भोगे न योगे न वाजिराजौ न भोगे न योगे न वाजिराजौ न कान्ता सुखेनैव वित्तेषु चित्तम् न कान्ता सुखेनैव वित्तेषु चित्तम् मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे ततः किं 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 अरण्येन वा स्वस्य गेहेन कार्ये अरण्येन वा स्वस्य गेहेन कार्ये न देहे मनो वर्तते मे त्वनर्घे न देहे मनो वर्तते मे त्वनर्घ्ये मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे ततः किं 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 ततः किम् अनर्घ्याणि रत्नादिमुक्तानि सम्यक् अनर्घ्याणि रत्नादिमुक्तानि सम्यक् समालिङ्गिता कामिनी यामिनीषु समालिङ्गिता कामिनी यामिनीषु मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे मनश्चेन्न लग्नं गुरोरङ्घ्रिपद्मे ततः किं 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 गुरोरष्टकं यः पठेत् पुण्यदेही गुरोरष्टकं यः पठेत् पुण्यदेही यतिर्भूपतिर्ब्रह्मचारी न गेही यतिर्भूपतिर्ब्रह्मचारी न गेही लभेत्वाञ्छितार्थपदं ब्रह्म संज्ञम् लभेत्वाञ्छितार्थं पदं ब्रह्म संज्ञम् गुरोरुक्तवाक्ये मनो यस्य लग्नम् गुरोरुक्तवाक्ये मनो यस्य लग्नम् eyes closed, sit for a while. Fully exhale and open your eyes slowly. So, now the meaning of this Guru Ashtakam that we just chanted. Tatakim, 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 tatakim. So this phrase means tatakim means so what, so what, so what, so what. So it just describes that, even if you have had all the wealth of the world, even if you have had everything that you desired for. So, but if you do not have the grace of the Guru, then what? Then what do you have? Then you don't have anything. So this is the crux of this Guru Ashtakam. So you have this, you have that, all of it. So it describes Kalantram. Kalantram means your spouse. You have all the relations, but you don't have a Guru. Then it's of no use. So it just describes in every verse, it goes on describing how meaningless it would be to have everything but not having a guru. Okay. Now today I thought of talking to you all about a very important concept in Patanjali's Yoga Darshan. Now, the yoga that we know is, the yoga that we know is about asanas because we practice asanas. But when we think about yoga, the only name that comes into our mind from ancient India is Patanjali. But strangely, Patanjali has not described any posture in his text of Patanjali Yoga Darshan. Patanjali does not talk about Mayurasan, Shavasan, Sukhasan, Padmasan, Siddhasan, nothing. he has not mentioned a single posture in his text. So what is he talking about in Patanjali Yoga Darshan? So what kind of yoga is he talking about in Patanjali Yoga Darshan? Right? Before I talk about it, before that, I want to talk about one concept, and that concept is of Ishwara Pranidhan in his text. So he describes Ashtanga Yoga, 8 limbs of yoga. The 8 limbs are Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. So these are the 8 limbs that Patanjali describes in his Yoga Darshan. Now we have to understand that these 8 limbs are not like 8 steps. So it is not that you start at Yama and then you go, after you finish Yamas, you reach Niyama. Then after you finish Niyama, you reach Asan. After you finish Asan, you reach Pranayam. It's not like that. So that is why he uses the word Anga or limbs. Anga or limbs means avayav, body part. So all of this together makes yoga. These are not steps. All of these limbs have to be practiced simultaneously. So in Yamas, Patanjali is talking about a code of conduct, how one should be behaving with others in the society. That is Yama. So he gives us 5 Yamas: Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha. Then he goes about talking how you should conduct yourself. So that is Niyama. Okay. So that is Shaucha, Santosha, Tapa, Svadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana. Shaucha, Santosha, Tapa, Svadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana. I'll briefly talk about each of these, but I mainly want to talk about Ishvara Pranidhana. Okay. So these are 5 niyamas. So first he talks about how what's the code of conduct to behave in the society. Then how are you going to conduct yourself? Then the third limb is asana. Am I audible clearly? I am, right? Yes, I'm getting a message that my voice is low, but
सुचेता तुझा आवाज येतोय पण रोजच्या
okay. So the outer, so what I was talking, yamas. So in yamas, Patanjali is talking about code of conduct to behave with others in the society. Then niyama, how are you going to conduct yourself, carry yourself? Then he comes towards asana. Asana, about your body. Then pranayam, the 4th limb. Pranayam is about your energy body. So asana is about your physical body. Inside your physical body is one more layer, which is your energy body. So your energy body is taken care by the limb of pranayam. And then the 5th limb is pratyahara. Now this pratyahara forms a bridge that takes us from the external to the internal. So if you see the first 4 limbs, they take you more and more close to yourself. So from the society to you, to society, yama, then to you, niyama, then to the body, asana, then to energy body, further inward, right, pranayam. Then pratyahara. Pratyahara is about practicing withdrawal of our sense organs that are generally outward oriented, taking them inward. That is pratyahara. Ahar is anything that you take in is ahar in terms of your food, in terms of air that you breathe in, the thoughts that you take in, right? All of this is ahara. Pratyahar is going in the reverse direction, opposite direction. Okay, so that is pratyahar. And then comes dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Okay, which is antaranga yoga, which is related not only to your about your, which is not really connected to your mind. I mean, not only connected to your mind, but it is in fact taking you more inward towards your buddhi, that is your vivek buddhi, and to your swarup, which is untainted, which is not only your emotions, which is not just your opinions, or which is not just your intellect, or which is obviously not just your body. So what happens is, in Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam is Bahiranga Yoga. Pratyahar is a bridge, setu, and then Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi is Antaranga Yoga. Okay. Now, today being Guru Poornima, I chose to talk about Ishvara Pranidhan in the context of another concept that Patanjali talks about in Patanjali Yoga Darshan. So this Ashtanga Yoga Marga, he says, is meant for Uttama Adhikaris. Adhikari means what? Adhikari is the person who is eligible for something. And Uttama means best eligible person, who is most eligible. That is Uttama Adhikari. There are three types of Adhikaris or eligible people. Uttama Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Kanishtha or Adhama Adhikari. Now, Patanjali in his Yoga Darshan gives this Ashtanga Yoga, says that it is basically for Uttama Adhikaris. Okay. And then for Madhyama Adhikaris, he gives Kriya Yoga. What is Kriya Yoga? Kriya Yoga has three limbs: Tapa, Svadhyaya, and Ishvara Pranidhan. Three limbs: Tapa, Svadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhan. Tapa, the literal meaning of the word tapa is to heat. To heat. Tapa. So we know the word tap, tap as in fever, tapaman, temperature, santap, that is, when you lose your temper. So para chadto, tap, santap, pratap. So all of these words come from the word tapa, is to heat. So in tapa, what are we heating? So tapa is basically consistent, continuous practice. Consistent, continuous, that is dirghakala, nirantara, abhyasa is tapa. And dirghakala, nirantara, abhyasa of what? Of anything that is required for your goal. So here, when we are talking about yoga, we are, or Patanjali is not defining yoga as in asana. Yoga is for us in daily life. If we want to think about yoga, it is anything which is our goal, which is my goal right now. That is yoga for me. And how am I going to go towards that goal? That is, so for me, that goal is yoga. And I want to get there. That is yoga. So tapa is the efforts that are needed to achieve your goal. That is tapa. relentlessly working towards that goal, keeping that goal always in your mind, and doing, or rather doing only that which takes me towards my goal, and using my intelligence to be able to give up anything that takes me away from my goal. So if my goal is to say whatever, pass my exam with this whatever so many marks, or my goal is to reduce weight, my goal is to learn a specific skill, my goal is to complete the course that I have signed up for, whatever it is. So that is tapa. Okay. Then there is one more meaning of tapa, and this is more spiritual meaning. I'll try to give you what is the spiritual meaning and how can we put it in daily practice, both. Okay. Now the spiritual meaning of tapa is to do anything or everything that you can do to free yourself from the clutches of the samsara. Samsara. So anything that keeps you, that binds you here to this physical world. Effort done towards freeing yourself from the physical world are tapascharya. We have heard of so many rishis and munis who did tapascharya in Himalaya. Why did they do it? Probably some of them did it to achieve some siddhi, some power, some vibhuti. Okay. But the ultimately they wanted to be free. So that is tapa. So we can also do it for freedom in the context of the goal that we have set for. Correct. So we can take it as feeling free, feeling freedom in the body, feeling freedom in the thought, feeling freedom while I am dealing with any day-to-day situation. Right? So when I am able to deal with that situation freely, without feeling any kind of pressure or bondage, then that is tapa. Effort that I am putting in towards that direction is tapa. Then second is swadhyaya. Swadhyaya, two meanings. Swa, self. Adhyaya or adhyayana is study. So self-study, studying yourself, knowing your body, knowing your thoughts, knowing your mind, knowing your surroundings. How am I connected with the surroundings? All of this is swadhyaya. And the second meaning of swadhyaya is studying the scripture, the old scripture. That is also swadhyaya. So spiritually, studying the scripture gives us a cosmic view, a larger picture. Otherwise, we are all thinking only about us and we don't really have a big picture. So studying the scriptures gives us some broader view. So it tells us how we are connected with the universe, because otherwise in day-to-day life, we live in the world of differences. We are always me and you, me and you, me and you, right? So I am doing this for achieving my goal. So when I say I am unknowingly saying you somewhere, because if there is no you, there will be no I. Correct? So we are living in the world of differences, bheda, duality basically. There are two always. It is me and you, or me versus the world, or me versus government, me and my manager, or me and spouse, me and son, me and whatever, all this. So it's always two. And wherever there are two, there will be struggle and stress. If there is only one, there is no struggle, there is no stress. But when there are two, then there is struggle and stress. So studying the scriptures gives us this world view, which is very different than what we experience. Our experience is limited because we don't have that view. I have a different view. I can only see what is in my vicinity, in my vision, but I don't have that worldview. And when we study the scriptures, we know how everything is connected, and we get that sense of oneness. And when that sense of oneness, when we receive that sense of oneness, the duality goes. And when the duality goes, there is no struggle, there's no stress. So this is a spiritual perspective of Swadhyaya. Okay, but in day-to-day life, like we saw Tapa, putting in effort to achieve the goal. Dirghakala Nirantara effort. Effort to feel freedom in the body, mind, speech. That is Tapa. Similarly, Swadhyaya is to study our environment, our surroundings, and knowing what are the resources that I have available to be able to achieve my goal. Where can I get help? Where do I need to ask for help? Is there an opportunity for me to help? That is Swadhyaya. Okay, because many times in today's world, we forget to ask for help. I need help here. When we know the resources that we have available for us, we will be able to go towards our goal faster. And there's nothing wrong in getting help. And when will we know about it? When we study. When we study the environment, when we study the resources that we have in terms of knowledge, in terms of time, in terms of skills. That is Swadhyaya. And now we come to the third point, Ishwara Pranidhan. So what am I telling you? I'm telling you the concept of Kriya Yoga in Patanjali's Yoga Darshan. Tapa, Swadhyaya, Ishwara Pranidhana. And Patanjali says this is something which can be done by anyone. You need not be a Uttama Adhikari for this. Anyone can do this. What is Ishwar Pranidhan? A simple translation is surrender to God. Okay, surrender to God. Now, I thought that if we break this word Ishwar Pranidhan into two, there are two words here, Ishwara and Pranidhan. Okay. When I was thinking about Ishwar Pranidhan, initially I had tough time to understand it. Initially, I thought, okay, I have to surrender to God. And then I asked myself, but then if I just do some puja and then I sit with namaste and chant some stotras, is that Ishwara Pranidhan? If I don't connect with that God in that form, then what is the use? This is something which all of us think. Okay. And then I kept on asking, what is God? And who is my favorite God? Ishta Devata. And I think I spent a lot of time thinking about the first part, Ishvara. And then I realized that I'm forgetting the second part, which is Pranidhanam. And then I thought that the important part is Pranidhan and not Ishvara. So Ishvara Pranidhan, what is important? Pranidhan means surrender, samarpan. Then I thought, let me contemplate on Pranidhan more than struggling with this concept of Ishvara. Because when I'm thinking about this concept of Ishvara, then there are so many opinions about it. But when it comes to surrender, there are no different opinions about it. Surrender is surrender. It is just samarpan. So it's easy. And then I realized, oh my God, I spent about 3-4 years thinking about Ishwar, no, not this. I don't buy this. Mala he patat nahi, no this. And then I realized, no, the crux is pranidhan. Samarpan is what is needed. And we should focus on that. So surrendering. Then I started thinking, to whom can I surrender? If I can't, then why can I not surrender? What is stopping me from surrendering? Then that becomes an inward journey. When you start inquiring, why am I not surrendering? What is stopping me from surrendering? Is it my ego? That's stopping. And most of the times the answer is ego. Ego stops us from surrendering. Even if we say, no, I don't have any ego. Even that is an ego that stops you from surrendering. Because we always think that you will have to first convince my intellect, only then I will be able to surrender. But the concept of surrender is not that. Surrender is no questions asked, you surrender. That is surrender. You can't say that you first convince me and then I will surrender. Right? Then the inward journey can start when you can ask yourself, to whom can I surrender? Surrender. And it need not be, the answer may not be quick. But as per my experience, even if you don't get the answer, contemplating or meditating on the thought of surrender itself is the answer. Whom to surrender, that could be, you may be asking that question. You may keep on asking that question. But just thinking about this concept itself gives us a completely different perspective. And then while doing your poses, your asanas on the yoga mat, you can then think about surrendering to the gravity at times, where you are resisting. You're not able to let go. So your poses don't happen. There you can think of surrendering to the gravity. No, it's like that that story, not story, but this happens that for example, when there is a court case and someone is fighting in the court and that person doesn't win in district court. Okay, so the person is not satisfied. He says, no, I don't agree with this verdict. So appeal to the next court. Again, in the next court, the same judgment. The person says, no, I don't agree with this verdict. Again, appeal to the next court, next court, next court, next court, next court. And when the verdict is not in your favor, what will you do? You will keep on appealing, 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 appealing. So you will keep on struggling. Okay. But you are not ready to pause for a while and see what is the problem. Am I putting my case? Can I put my case differently? What is the problem here? Why is it that every court is passing the same judgment? Okay. So when you keep on struggling, you forget to take a pause and relook at the situation. And that time, that surrendering helps. Surrendering, then you can look at it as taking some help from some third party. We are not ready to do that because we feel that I can do everything. And so we don't ask for help. Asking for help is also an act of surrender. Okay. So I thought that because it's Guru Poornima, I thought that it will be better if we give this concept of Ishwara Pranidhan a thought. Instead of Ishwara, why don't we focus on Pranidhan? So there is no, of course, if you are able to easily do Ishwara Pranidhan, there is no problem. Okay. But if you are struggling there, which I feel most of us in this society struggle with this concept. So I thought of sharing this because it helped me have the shift from Ishvara to Pranidhana. When I made that shift, it was easy for me to understand what Patanjali is trying to tell. So he's not trying to define Ishvara and tell that, you should surrender to this Ishvara, but he's emphasizing on surrender and Pranidhana. Okay. That's because what happens is Tapas, Svadhyaya and Ishvara Pranidhana, three of them make Kriya Yoga. Okay. At times, if you only practice Tapa and Svadhyaya, that is, you put in effort and you study a lot. But if you do not practice Pranidhana, then it will just develop ego in you. And that ego doesn't take us anywhere. So Tapa Svadhyaya along with Pranidhana is important. And yeah, so this was the shift that I not recently, say 2 years back, I discovered this shift, and it has helped me so far. So I thought I should share this with you on the occasion of Guru Poornima. Okay. So this was from my side, but if you have any questions, not only about this concept as such, but since you all are practicing with us, if you have any questions related to your yoga practice or even this concept, then you can ask. You can use that raise hand option. I'm not able to see. Okay, Seema.
Actually, when you say surrender, so let's say you are surrendering yourself to a particular person. Say you are some saint or someone. Then does it mean you don't use your intellect to think, or you just listen?
Not. Of course, it doesn't mean that.
So what is surrender means? Because surrender means you just accept that things are coming to you as it is, right? Is that a definition of surrender?
No.
Or then what is the definition of surrender?
You are not audible clearly, Manin.
Okay. So what is the definition of surrender, right? Surrender could be, so you listen to a person without challenging that person, right? Because you have surrendered yourself to a person. That will be one definition of surrender.
Mm.
But what is the other definition of surrender? Means how do you surrender yourself to someone?
Okay. Okay. I'll
Can you give me an
answer.
example? Okay.
I will answer that. See, firstly, let's understand surrender does not mean non-action from your side. Surrender is not non-action from your side. In Marathi, there is a proverb, असेल माझा हरी तर देईल खाटल्यावरी. So if there is God, I will get everything on my bed. I surrender to the God, let him do things for me. I will not do anything. That is not the meaning of surrender. Akarma is not the meaning of surrender. Non-action. No. Then what is the meaning of surrender? Surrender is surrendering your ego to that person and having an attitude of a karta, not a karma. Understand the difference. There is action and there is an actor, correct? There is action, karma, and there is an actor, that is the doer of the action.
Suchita, your voice is breaking right now. Couldn't hear anything. I don't know, is it for me or for everyone?
You heard, na?
No,
Yeah, we are
we
able
couldn't
to hear
hear.
you.
Me? Yeah, okay, I'll still repeat.
Yes,
I will
please.
still
Thank
repeat. Okay, so there is an action, that is the deed. That is karma. Deed or action is your karma. Okay, and then there is a doer of the action, which is karta. So two parts to the action. The action is not just the action, na? It's not just the act. There is an actor also. Getting this? Give me, are you getting what I'm trying to tell you? Two parts. Okay. Now, what are we saying? We don't want non-action. We don't want non-action. What we want is, we are not going to do an action with kartru bhava. That is surrendering of the ego. Means, I did this, I did so many efforts, I gathered so many resources, I studied this, I did that, this I have to go. Action need not go. Kartru bhava has to go. You need to surrender the feeling of actor, of doership. You have to surrender the doership, the attitude of doership. You're not surrendering the deeds. You keep doing things, but not with an attitude of, I am doing this. Getting this? That is surrender. So surrender does not mean non-action at all. Surrender is not that, okay, I will not do anything, that person will take care of me. No, no one can take care of you if you don't take care of yourself. God helps those who help themselves. God doesn't help those who do not help themselves, correct? So you keep doing it, but with a feeling of just doing it. But not, I am doing. So, as I said, all these limbs work together. So tapa, swadhyaya, ishvara pranidhan, all three will work together. Your effort, part of tapa, your study, part of swadhyaya, at the same time surrendering the ego, ishvara pranidhan. That is surrender.
So let's say, if I can just build on that question. See, if you are if you have a saint, right? You believe in someone. Now, if that person tells you something, challenging that will be considered as non-surrender. If you say you are not surrendering because your guru is telling you something, and you are just
Manin, this is always with respect to your goal, Manin. So think about your goal and then decide. So if your guru is telling you to chant a particular mantra, say for example, then that's in general, right? Okay, so that is just a part of your belief. So we are not talking, that's completely up to you. It's completely personal. Whether, and so here I think you're over analyzing it when you are asking this, whether that will be considered as surrender or not. Then you need to ask yourself. If there is a doubt, then definitely there is no surrender. Because with doubt, you can't surrender. Right? When there is a doubt, then that means there is some struggle happening. And you are just doing it to qualify that act as surrender, which is not what we want. We are not doing surrender for the sake of surrendering. So there is no qualifying act here. Getting this?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, to answer your question, and good you asked, is the surrender is of your ego. So there is no doership. You don't hold doership. You are not karta. So you become a karma yogi. What is a karma yogi? A karma yogi is the one who does karmas, not being attached to them. So no doership, no karta bhav, only the karma. See, ours is, Indian society is a duty-based society, karma-based society. Western society is a right-based society, hakka. And Indian society is a duty-based society. We are nurtured like that. Okay, we are always taught की भावा बहिणींसाठी असं करायचं, हे असं करायचं, ते. We are taught like that and we understand that easily. We don't question there. So what has happened is even the study of psychology is Western psychology that we study. We don't study Indian psychology. We study Western psychology. Say Sri Mukti. No, all these concepts are Western, and because that is a right-based society. So they are just fighting for the rights. But ours is not a right-based society. It is a duty-based society. So you do your duties when each component of the society does the duty, then there is no question of asking or fighting for rights. Because when you do your duty, when the other person is also doing the duty, everyone is doing the duty and fulfilling the part that is assigned to that person or that part of the society, then who is going to ask for the rights? There is no need to ask for that. So this is how our society has been. Okay, so surrendering is surrendering the doership. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for asking that question. Shamika?
Yeah, so thanks so much for the insights, Suchita. I had one question. The tapa that we meant was the efforts for freeing ourselves from the physical world. This versus the concept of surrender. How does it work together? So we are freeing ourselves for something, and then we are surrendering. So I am just wanted to know what is that linkage and how do you kind of, yeah.
Okay. So understand this. We are not freeing ourselves from something. Okay. Two different things here. So it's like, what example should I give you? Okay, so it's like this. I'm wearing spectacles and I keep my spectacles here on my head. And I keep looking for my spectacles. I think that I have lost my spectacles. Okay, and then Neha comes and tells me, "Are see, your spectacles are right here." Okay, now here what has happened is, had I lost my spectacles, No. Then what had happened? I had forgotten that I kept my spectacles here. So this freedom is like this. You're not freeing. No one is actually binding you. You are keeping yourself bounded there. No one is holding you. You are holding on to the thing. So this freedom is not an act of freeing yourself from something. The freedom is the thought of realizing that I am free. It's different, right? When you are born here, we are actually free. We do get birth in some families. So yes, as duty-based society, I have to fulfill my duties towards my parents, the society, the country, whatever. All of this is true. But then, who creates the bondage? Does the society create bondage or I create bondage? I create bondage, right? So what should I be doing? I just have to realize that I created it. The moment I decide to drop it, I'm free. Again, that doesn't mean running away from the duties, but doing the duties without karta bhav. When you do this, there is no bondage at all. When there is karta bhav, there is bondage. When you are doing something with a sense of doership, what are you doing? You are creating bondage. When you surrender that doership, there is no bondage, so there is freedom. Correct?
It's much deeper than what we look at it on the surface. Yeah. Thanks
Yes,
for that.
yes. So this is known as praptasya prapti. Prapti is achieving. Praptasya prapti means achieving what you already had. I already had spectacles, I got them back. And what is apraptasya prapti? I don't have spectacles, I went and purchased. That is apraptasya. Freedom is praptasya prapti. You already have it and then you realize it. You don't get it from anywhere. It's not that I don't have freedom, let me get it from somewhere. No. You have it, own it. You have to have the courage to own your freedom. Most of the time, we want to stay in bondage because it takes courage to own the freedom. Okay. Manoj?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Just going back to Ishwar Pranidhan. So, how should really kids or teenagers or those who are transitioning from a younger age into more of like adulthood, what is really a Ishwar Pranidhan for them? Because they may not really understand the concepts of Ishwar also.
Correct. Right. So as I said, forget the Ishwar part for now. And we will only focus on Pranidhan part for now. So surrender part for now. Okay. So the kids can, obviously we can introduce them to selfless act. Introducing them to selfless act is teaching them surrender or teaching them dropping the doership, right? Like if we go somewhere, जसं आम्ही इथे जातो कोणाच्या तरी शेतामध्ये जाऊन भात लावायचा. Okay, so you are not going to get that yield, but you do it for them. So this is like karma yoga, shramadhan, right? When you do that, shramadhan is what? It's an act of surrendering the doership. This is something that we can always teach the kids. So they can be introduced to this selfless act, which is basically teaching them samarpan or pranidhan, because they know that it's not that I will always get the fruits of the actions right away, and the fruits of my actions have to be with me all the time. Probably I will be doing certain actions so that others get the fruits of the action. That is samarpan itself. So we have to realize samarpan as non-doership, feeling of non-doership. As I said, if we are stuck with Ishvara, it will be difficult to understand it. But contemplate more on samarpan, on pranidhan. We will be able to understand more meaning. Pranidhan. Right.
Okay,
So,
got it.
yes. So teaching, even putting them into team sports, team game, individual game, team game. Team game teaches you surrender. At times, like in Chakde, you don't always play for yourself. First you play for the country, then you play for the team, and then lastly you play for yourself.
Okay, got it. So these are the ways for them to practice pranidhan and then gradually mature.
Right. So then it's up to them to discover the concept of Ishwar for themselves. But pranidhan is important in daily life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sarika?
आधीच्या कोणत्या तरी सेशन्स मध्ये तू म्हटली होतीस जर का तुम्हाला कळत नसेल की कुणाला सरेंडर करायचं, सो टू स्टार्ट विथ यू कॅन सरेंडर टू युअर सेल्फ.
येस, राईट.
मला नीटसं कळलं नाही की सरेंडर टू युअर सेल्फ म्हणजे काय आणि कसं.
Right. See, when you don't know whom to surrender, then I said you surrender to yourself. See, now the inquiry begins right here, Sarika. Like you asked, मला ते कळलं नाही. Now the inquiry has begun. So take that inquiry ahead. Then ask yourself, surrendering to myself means what? Who am I? Right? This is the first question you will ask yourself. Like, for example, if I tell you surrender to gravity, you already know gravity, so you don't ask me what is gravity, right? But if I ask you to say surrender to Z, then you will ask me who is Z. So now I'm telling you surrender to yourself. What will you ask? Who, me? Now the inquiry has begun already. And that is the point. Because it is already taking you closer to yourself. So, so let me help. So let me ask you, who are you, Sarika? What will you tell me? What will you tell me?
आता तरी मी सांगणार नाही की माझं नाव शिक्षण हे आहे म्हणून.
पण otherwise what will you tell me? काय सांगशील? मी काय आहे?
So whatever I understood, आपण म्हणजे पंचमहाभूत आणि आपण
हे नको. See, if you have understood this, then you know whom to surrender.
Okay.
Then you can't ask me this question.
So maybe I have understood the theory and not applicability.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're telling this to me, then this question shouldn't have. Because Panchamahabhuta is me, so it's easy whom to surrender. Correct. So let the inquiry, if the inquiry has begun, take it till the end. आणि म्हणून मी प्रत्येक सेशन मध्ये सांगते, don't just do श्रवण bhakti. Do not just listen. Actually inquire. There are these steps. First step, logically, in theory, understand it. Have I understood it completely in theory? Does it make any sense to me in theory? Theory aikhtana, don't question, how is it possible to implement it in practice? Don't ask this question right now. Logically, does your brain think that on paper, this looks fine? At least this, do you agree? That is the first step. On paper, does it make sense to me? So get it completely clarified. On paper, it should look fine. Okay. When it starts looking fine on paper, then start practicing it. So you will know the difficulties. जसं आसनांचं काय होतं, when we start practicing the postures, we know. Okay, this pose needs help. This I'm not able to bend forward. I'm not able to go back and this and that. We know it when we practice it. Correct. Here, what is happening is before practicing, what's happening is buddhi is blocking it. Buddhi is blocking it. Buddhi tells, no, first get your answer and then practice. What is this? Ego. No, अरे मला पटतच नाही तर मी कसं करू. आता असं असतं ना, we go to office. There are so many mundane tasks that we have to do in office. Is it that each and every task that you do in office is very interesting? No.
No.
Probably 20% of it is very, very interesting. Right? Then 40% of it is okay. And then for remaining is 40, 20, say remaining 40 is very boring and mundane. What do? We still do the mundane task. We still do it, right? We still do it. Why? Because it pays me. But here असं होतं आपलं की बुद्धीला पटलं पाहिजे बाबा माझ्या. का बाबा? न पटताना करून बघ ना काहीतरी थोडंसं. At least start doing it. See, you can always give it up. It's always a choice. There's always a choice. Who is asking you to continue doing it? No, there's always a choice. But think, do we do each and everything जे आपल्या बुद्धीला पटलेली असते तीच आणि तरच आपण असं काही नसतं. We do so many things ज्या नसतात पटलेल्या, ज्या नसतात करायच्या. But when it comes to व्यावहारिक सत्ता, transactional world, we do all of those things. Very happy because we get paid for it. Right? So that shows our strong identification with physical world. That's our identity. And so we feel that is what is important. That is real. And I can't be spending time on what is unreal. Let me spend time on what. So all of this keeps going on in our mind, which we are not aware of. Okay. So to answer your question, surrender to self, take this inquiry till the end. Ask yourself, okay, how can I surrender to myself when I don't know who am I? Then ask, then who am I? I'm Sarika. Okay, who's Sarika? Sarika who is doing teacher training course. Okay. Then if Sarika was not doing teacher training course, then who would she be? Okay, she would be this. If she was not doing this, then who would she be? If not this, then who? If not this, then who? This is the inquiry, which is known as neti. Na iti. Not this. When you cancel negation, you arrive at a point where you realize, okay, this is me. And you surrender to that. एवढी प्रोसेस होईपर्यंत हा प्रश्नच डिसअपिअर होईल मनामधनं. So do this process. Don't stop. Continue. Take it till the end. आपलं असं होतं ना, आपण घाबरतो when we are scared of something. Mostly we are scared of unknown. Okay. And then we say, oh पण असं झालं तर. So people ask me, अगं पण असं झालं तर. Then I ask them, okay, answer that. असं झालं तर काय होईल? Answer that. We just leave it there itself. We don't answer. Take it till the end, na. Take it till the end. झालं तर काय? पुढे बोल. Complete the sentence. At the max, worst. What's going to happen? Complete it. When you know it, you are fine. So similarly, ask, who am I? When you know it, you will be fine. You will know to surrender.
Yes.
Bharti?
सो वेन यू से की डुअरशिप नाही पाहिजे, लाईक वेन यू डू कर्म, आणि दॅट इज समथिंग दॅट बेसिकली वी स्ट्रगल विथ ना, कारण मग मी केलं मग ते कशासाठी केलं जर मी नसेल तर. एक रेड अ व्हेरी नाईस स्टोरी दॅट व्हॉट एव्हर आय हॅव डन इज फॉर द डे. म्हणजे मला बक्षीस मिळालं, खूप खुश झाले, समथिंग हॅपन्ड आहे, फेलियर आहे, मला खूप वाईट वाटलं, तर ते त्या दिवशी रात्री 12 पर्यंत आय विल सेलिब्रेट बिकॉज आय पुट इन एफर्ट्स आणि आय गॉट अ प्राइज. तर मग केल्याचं मला काहीतरी तर पाहिजे, तर ते त्या दिवशी रात्री 12 पर्यंत. टुमॉरो इज अ न्यू डे. यू डोंट कॅरी
इट
आणि कॅरी फॉरवर्ड. तर दॅट मेक्स इट स्लाइटली इझी फॉर यू टू गिव्ह अवे युअरशिप. कारण मग बॅगेज नाही वाढत आहे, ते केल्याचा आनंद पण होतो, पण तो तिथे सोडता येतोय. यू आर नॉट कॅरिंग, म्हणजे तो पाईल अप नाही होते फॉर बोथ डाऊन आणि अप इज समथिंग दॅट, म्हणजे आय रिकलेक्ट वेन यू आर सेईंग दिस की हे मला जोडता येतंय, हे
राईट
स्टोरी आणि हे. आणि द सरेंडरिंग पार्ट जे आहे, आय डोंट नो, सो मच ऑफ थिंग्स माय मदर इन लॉ वुड टॉक ॲज समथिंग ऑर्थोडॉक्स, अँड व्हॉट यू टॉक, मला ते खूप असं वाटतं की हे जुळतंय. शी सेड इट इन अ डिफरंट वे. तर ते जो सगळा, म्हणजे मी केला स्वयंपाक किंवा मी सगळं केलं आणि मग ते तुळशीपत्र ठेवलं की संपलं
येस
तिथे. आणि ते
कृष्णार्पणमस्तु.
तर ते आहे, ते मी केलं सगळं ठीक आहे, पण ते तुळशीपत्र इज द थिंग दॅट वी नीड टू फॉर एव्हरीथिंग, नॉट ऑन द प्लेट बट फॉर एव्हरीथिंग इज what I think I'm understanding from what you're saying for this surrender.
Yes, you're right. तेच आहे ते तुळशीपत्र ठेवणं म्हणजे कृष्णार्पणमस्तु. वॉट एव्हर आय डिड, कृष्णार्पणमस्तु. पीपल यूज टू से दिस. हे जुन्या लोकांचं हे वाक्य आहे.
आणि मग कष्ट नाही करायचे असं होत नाही ना, कारण तो नैवेद्य करायला आपण पूर्ण कष्ट करतो, अतिशय मनापासून करतो. So the ambition doesn't go off. माझं for so many sessions, my point of asking you was if I do that, I'm ambitious basically. तर ते क्लॅश होतंय ना, मग माझी अम्बिशनच संपेल जे वाटत होतं मला. आय थिंक आता ते क्लिअर होतंय.
करेक्ट. पण आता इथे पण बघ भारती, इथे सुद्धा यू आर समवेअर, you don't want to let go of that ambition. Okay, so it's a point. I'm not saying give up the ambition, okay? By the way, the point here is ki आपण ते करत नाही because we don't want to leave something, we want to hold on to something, so we will be doing it conditionally, not unconditionally. असं होतं तिथे. जेव्हा आता ते तुझ्या बुद्धीला कुठेतरी पटलंय, असं तुला वाटतंय की ओके, हे सगळं मी करू शकते and still I can be ambitious, so okay, let me try it. Getting this?
Right.
Okay, so this is what has happened, but and that is fine. I'm just giving you a perspective ki this is the process that happens. पण इथे as I always say की हे करणं याचा अर्थ you give up your passion, you give up ambition, you lead a boring life, असं कुठेही नाहीये. No one is stopping us from doing the things that we generally do.
And that's the वृत्ती that I have identified myself with. हे पण कळत नाही की मी काय आहे. तर जर सगळं काढलं तर मी ambitious आहे. That is something that is the way when I come down to my identity, माझी ती तिथे थांबते.
पण तू ambitious पण नसशील तर भारती असेल का?
तर हे माझं मलाच मी विचारते की इफ आय एम नॉट देअर देन व्हॉट विल आय बी. तर मला अजून काही ते दिसत नाही की मी विदाउट अम्बिशन वाली मी आय डोंट नो. सो दॅट इज वेअर आय स्टक.
Right. So you start asking, were you born with ambition?
I don't know, but if I wasn't ambitious, I wouldn't have been where I am.
That's fine.
So ते थोडंसं
correct. But yes, I understand what you're saying.
तर तिथे अडकलेलं आहे. आणि मग ते संपलं तर मग माझं सगळं असंच जाईल, काहीच करण्याचं असं. That was my clash, but I think I'm getting there.
Okay. Yes. Good. Thank you for sharing. गीता?
आवाज येतोय का?
हो.
नैवेद्य आणि कृष्णार्पण वस्तू तुमचं ऐकल्यावर मला माझ्या बाबतीतली खरी घटना आठवली. आश्रम सेवा मी करते वासुदेव निवास आश्रम मध्ये. तर तिथे एक दिवस नैवेद्य करण्यासाठी बोलवलं होतं मला एकटीला. आणि माझ्या डोक्यात सुरू झालं की एवढं सोहळं आहे, सगळं असं व्यवस्थित होईल का, नीट नाही झालं तर काय म्हणतील लोक, हे कॉमन प्रश्न जे येतात ते. पण मी आपलं शिकलेली सगळ्या गोष्टी ज्या आहेत त्या आतापर्यंत इम्प्लिमेंट करायचं ठरवलं. आणि मी म्हणजे शरीर नाहीये, मी म्हणजे हे नाहीये, मग मी म्हणजे डुअरशिप पण घ्यायची नाहीये, मग मी जसं होईल तसं होईल, आतली एनर्जी सगळं करणार आहे, माझ्याकडून करवून घेतलं जाईल, हे सगळं घोकत गेले. बरं करता आलं सगळं. तेव्हा एकदम फ्रीली सगळं केलं आणि भयंकर कौतुक झालं आश्रमात की फार सुरेख झालंय, फार सुरेख झालंय. गाडीवरून येताना सुरू झालं, हा मला खूप छान जमलं. म्हणजे ती डुअरशिप लगेच चिकटली म्हणजे चिकटली. पण त्या क्षणी मला जाणवलं हे म्हणजे इम्प्लिमेंटेशन आलं किंवा क्लिक झालं की आता ही डुअरशिप घ्यायचीच नाहीये ना, नसतं झालं तर काय. आणि चांगलं झालंय तर मग मी आता छान करू शकले. हे आता काय एवढं आतमध्ये कारंज का उडतंय ते आता थांबव, ती डुअरशिप बंद कर. आणि मग तेव्हा ते कृष्णार्पण वस्तू
म्हणजे त्याचं कौतुक झाल्यामुळे ती डुअरशिप लवकर चिकटली.
चिकटते, ती लगेच चिकटते. ही इतक्या वेळची करेपर्यंत कुठेही नव्हती, ती लगेच कौतुक झाल्यावर चिकटायला लागली. पण ती चिकटतीये ह्याचा अवेअरनेस मला लगेच आला की नाही, हे आपण केलेलं नाहीये हेच म्हणायचं. असं ते ईश्वर प्रणिधान त्याला मला इम्प्लिमेंटेशन मध्ये जमलं असं वाटलं.
ओके, मी स्टॉप. अजून काही? We can chant the prayer and stop. Prayer म्हणूया. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
थँक्यू.